Acts chapter 4 verses 32 to 35. They were of one heart and mind. The community of believers was of one heart and mind, and no one claimed that any of his possessions was his own, but they had everything in common. With great power the apostles bore witness to the resurrection of the Lord Jesus, and great favor was accorded them all. There was no needy person among them, for those who owned property or houses would sell them, bring the proceeds of the sale, and put them at the feet of the apostles, and they were distributed to each according to need.
This reading gives us a glimpse of the inner workings, the closeness, and the unity of the early church. The early Christian community had a loving sense of responsibility for each other. It's one thing to talk of loving others, it's quite another to sell one's possessions and give the proceeds to those less fortunate. No one was required to contribute to the needs of others, the common fund donations were voluntary, just like your Sunday offering. These early Christians felt they were simply stewards, and what they owned was not their own, but felt a responsibility to share all that God had given them with one another. This passage reminds me of family life. The parents have an intense sense of responsibility toward each other. They share all that they have with each other and with their children. People without the sense of responsibility, and willingness to share with others, turn inward and become selfish. A Yale professor Halford Lucock once said, "You remember that among the Franks, whole armies were sometimes given baptism at one stroke, and many warriors went into the water with their right hands held high, so that they did not get it wet. Then they could say, 'This hand has never been baptized,' and they could swing their battle axes just as freely as ever." The modern counterpart of that partial baptism is seen in many people who have been baptized all except their pocketbooks, which were held high out of the water. The most truly generous persons are those who give silently, without hope of praise or reward. Carol Ryrie Brink. Caddy Woodlawn's Family.